We have
We're live. Go ahead.
All right, here we go. Good. Enough of the pre-show banner. Hey, welcome back, fellow TFFL owners, to your TFFL webcast. It is Friday night, I think, August 21st, 2020. Crazy fucking year continuing. Forgive me. We haven't done this in a while, we were just saying. I'm a little extra loopy, so we'll see how we get through this. I think we have two people watching us live tonight.
Maybe.
Welcome to our guests at home. So listen, as of tonight, we are 3 weeks away from TFFL draft weekend. I think the Jersey guys are getting together in Berto's backyard, social distancing.
We are, at least Terry and Kramer. I haven't heard back from Badass yet, but anyone else in the area is welcome to join us. So
we're going to have, I think 4 or 5 people sharing 2 big cottages out at Algonquian playing golf. Rich, are you and Fats getting together?
Yeah, we're talking about it. Working out. We got an email exchange going on, and we, depending on what happens, we may be able to go out to the Cape for a night and do a draft out there if Fats is up for it in a very socially distanced, safe way with a buddy who has a house out on Nauset Beach, like in a beautiful spot in Orleans. So we may do a series of drafts that day, depending on what's going on, but most of it will be TFFL focused on anything we do. But I may have a couple of extra, party guests who are close friends up here that would enjoy being with us. We'll see how it works out.
I'll tell you, that would be the most likely when I would join, because, of course, I haven't seen my parents since, I don't even recall now this thing going on, except I get there and be quarantined for 2 weeks. So I don't know if it's going to work.
Yeah.
But I might show up anyway.
You can join us.
If you show up, you can come hang out with us for sure, man.
I'll take a boat.
Absolutely.
Chief, I took your email to be serious when you said you were going to rent a hotel room and put draft boards on the
I
wall.
likely will.
I like it, Chief.
I'll hide you.
If I'm not in Massachusetts, I'll be holed up in a nice hotel in the Fredericksburg area.
Right on.
All right.
So we're 3 weeks away. I've got a few headlines. News is starting to bubble up. We said goodbye to Darius Geis. Good riddance.
Good riddance.
Good riddance. I think in a weird way, the Mongols are probably like, great.
It saves the Mongols from themselves.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think we've had a webcast since Damian Williams opted out. The one keeper, I think, who has opted out, gone from the Hams keeper list. And then we have we talked about the Kyler Murray trade last time, I believe, to the Senators. We have a new quarterback trade we can talk about in a little bit. Jack's Giant Killers getting their quarterback, Tom Brady, and getting Hank riled up as always, simply by pulling off a trade.
Yep.
All right.
Roberto, I'm going to get a tattoo to my forehead. Jesus.
It's a 43-year-old quarterback for an 8th and a 13th.
Yeah, I'm actually puzzled. That move puzzled me. Still puzzles me.
All right. Well, let me reintroduce our panel. It has been a while. Starting with our commissioner, Rich Berkman. How are you?
I'm doing great. We have the bourbon of the week, which is going to be Buffalo Trace tonight. It is. I have some really special ones. Most of you know, I just crossed the Great Divide, hit 50, and there was some good bourbons shared with me, which is fantastic. And Buffalo Trace is what we're kicking off tonight with. So cheers, everyone.
We'll get to more of that in a bit, but Buffalo is going to be a theme tonight for Rich. Hank, our IT director, czar and CEO of the K-Wheels, welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Happy to be here.
You'll notice Hank is coming to us from new digs in the Hawken household.
We've had to create some new office space in the Hawken household now that we're all living so closely together. So my wife moved upstairs into the former office that was mine. I am now in the living room with a new desk, and it's just fun. But
Great.
yeah,
Are you allowed to like put up Vikings and K-Wheel stuff on the wall behind you?
Well, this stuff is thievery stuff. This is all like photos of fucking thievery corporation. So yeah, I could probably do something here.
Sweet.
But it is the first thing you see when you walk in our house. It's kind of the front room of our house. So.
Hey, Berto, hi, Command from Jack's Giant Killers.
Dick, how are you? Good to be back. It's been a while.
It has. I feel like I see you often for poker,
Right.
golf, and other ways to lose money. But yeah, it's been a while for the webcast. And Chief, the People's Champion. I don't think I've seen that shirt before.
You have not.
All right. New
I
draft
was
shirt.
trying to save it for the draft,
Right.
but yeah. So I'll pull it out tonight.
Nice.
I don't know if you're allowed to wear that in public anymore. Well, I guess you can. You're called Chief.
I can.
You can.
Heck yeah, you can.
Let somebody stop me.
All right.
Especially because it's allowed to go everywhere, you know.
So we do have a lot to talk about, but I've got a trivia question. I was very excited. It's a trivia question I came up with.
I'm unprepared. Okay.
So am I.
Something to write on.
I didn't write down the trivia question, so I'm really going to have to try to make sure I get all this.
All right. I know I got a sticky pad somewhere. Here it is.
Okay, while you're getting your sticky pads and pens, I will tell you it's not just a trivia question. It's also a public service announcement of sorts. This is going to be a TFFL draft-related trivia question in honor of our draft coming up. And it's a reminder that as I go through my literal physical archives of draft records here, I'm missing 1997 and 1998, our first 2 years, and 2006 to 2009. So I've got, 15 of our 20. I've lost track of how many years we have. How many years do we have? 23?
I think this is our 23rd year. Yes.
So I've got 18 years. I'm, missing 6, or I've got.
What did you say of drafts?
Yeah.
I might be able to help you.
Yeah. So if you've got 1997, 1998, or 2006,
I'll take a look.
send them my way. So I'm going to refer to TFFL draft history here, but I'm referring to the 17 or 18 drafts I've got, and we'll just have to pretend those other drafts didn't happen. We've talked on this webcast a few times about the historic Slippery Beavers draft, where they had 3 straight draft picks. I think it was 6, 7, and 8 overall one year. As I go back through past drafts, I've come across a team that had 2 consecutive picks at the top of the draft, first and second overall picks. Only has happened once in TFFL draft history, or the 18 years of it that I've got. So I want you to name the franchise that once had the first 2 overall picks in one of our drafts. That'll be worth 3 points.
Okay.
If you can name the year that it happened, if you can name the year, you'll get 2 points. If you can get within 1 year of the correct year, you can get 1 point. Somebody remember all this? And you can get 3 points for each of the players if you can name those 2 players.
Oh man, dude,
This is going to be horrible to get a big fat 0 on this.
All right, wait a minute. What years did you say you did not have the draft from?
97, 98.
Great clarifying question. 1997 and 1998 are not going to be the
2006.
I won the pack in 98.
That seems irrelevant.
I'm just saying.
And 2006 through 2009 are not going to be the correct.
Okay, that helps.
You don't have 2006 or 2009?
That's correct.
I have all of those.
I think I'm gonna be able to help you there.
And fact check me then if I'm wrong, because it happened one of those 4 years. But I don't.
Yeah,
I will not do that.
I got you.
All right.
2006 to 2009.
Okay, let's move on. And I'm gonna,
Year, team, and players.
yes,
And the first and second pick overall.
correct.
Jeez, that's hard.
That's really hard.
What it brings to mind for me actually is the Indianapolis Colts, and I believe the players were Quentin Coriat and Steve Entman.
That's great.
There.
Very
That's a real NFL draft.
I got no idea what you're talking about.
All right, let me turn it over to our commissioner, Rich,
Just as I'm trying to think of the players again.
You're going to have 45 minutes.
More. I got one of the players down. The other one I know.
All right, so let me tee this up for you. There's a lot of reminders, important reminders you can get to in a second. But I told folks Buffalo might be a recurring theme here. You were just telling us a few stories. Tell us some of your highlights of your Buffalo-related highlights and souvenirs from.
Right. So I was just mentioning before the webcast started that I dropped my daughter off at college. So I have my first child who flew the coop. And all went very well. She's there 3 days in, has a roommate. She's having a unique college experience, and all good so far. The benefit I got out of this is I get to go from Boston to Rochester, New York, a few times a year now. Hopefully, we'll see. And in that, one, I got to visit Dinosaur Barbecue, which was great. I'll be passing Syracuse and seeing all the wonderful places. But I also got, when I arrived at the hotel, to see the local news, and I got basically 3 days of 30 to 40 minute Buffalo training camp exposure, which was phenomenal. I was just, I was in my heaven, if you will, just listening to the Bills, especially living in Boston and knowing everything about the Patriots for the past 20 some odd years. Having a little Buffalo highlight was awesome. The short way to put this is that for my 50th, I'd also been given a really nice gift from my wife, which was to eventually attend a Bills game behind the scenes and see and meet the players. And so it'll be in November if it happens. Going to be a tough one this year. So if it doesn't happen this year, it'll hopefully get moved to next year. But I'll get a behind-the-scenes sort of exposure to the Bills. Roll out the red carpet, Rich, meet the players behind the scenes, go to a Patriots-Bills game, and have a great time. Since that may or may not happen, regardless, one of my wife's college close friends who lives in Rochester, which also helps us feel really good about Julia having someone we know very local there, met us for brunch in the beautiful town of Rochester, where we're by the Erie Canal. And she happens to know quite a few people who are connected to the Bills. So I was gifted a Jim Kelly signed football, which was pretty awesome. This totally took me by surprise. I had no idea any of this was going on. So I got a beautiful Jim Kelly signed football. And then I also got a Buffalo Bills lunchbox. Time to go to work. I told Liz she can make me lunch down, if she wouldn't mind. She can make me lunch downstairs, and then I can bring this lunchbox up and have it at lunchtime while I work from home now. And then I got also one of these, I don't know, shrink the voodoo head mini footballs, helmets that also is signed by Jim Kelly.
Nice.
Which is pretty awesome. So these were really fun, neat surprises that were gifted to me. I got a T-shirt as well. And, hey, wonderful way to try and kick off the football season for us this year. I couldn't have been more excited to have, literally taking my daughter to college, but the ancillary benefit was Bills everywhere. Taking Andrew out to the get DQ, right? Went to Dairy Queen. Pull up behind a car, Bills stickers everywhere. I was just in my glory. It was just fantastic. So not something I'm used to, and hopefully I'll benefit from that for the next 4 years while Julia's at University of Rochester. There you go.
Nice job. All right.
Yeah, Rich, and congratulations to you. I think you're the first TFFLer to have a child in college.
So
I'm guessing
not true. Adam would be my co-owner, had his daughter Emma start at Reed College just a couple of years ago. So he would be the first, but it is with the Lizards franchise. I would have the second there.
Nick's probably on deck.
Nick as well this year, right?
Nick might have beaten Rich. He just dropped Anna off. When was that? A week or two ago?
I thought he had a year to go yet.
No. Julianne is. It's not. Is it Julianne? No, that Julianne's
Anna.
It's Anna.
Anna.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's going to college this year as well.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to everybody. That's
congratulations.
a great accomplishment.
It's a little crazy to think we're freaking old.
Nuts.
It's really hard to believe. All right, so now let's get on to
Focus us.
commissioner report information, right? So everyone knows the draft is still on. We have a football season still on. They haven't changed anything. We will continue to monitor and see how things evolve. I mean, we have to be ready for this thing, though, because as you see with schools, with games getting canceled in baseball, it's going to be a challenge. We're going to have some interesting things to probably deal with this year, and we're going to be ready for it. That's the good news. I think we are a league with a lot of depth and a lot of expertise. We're going to be ready for it one way or another. So our draft is on. Our keeper lists are due on Labor Day, September 7th, by 6 p.m. Got it? 7th?
6 p.m.
Your dues are due by September 5th, 2 days before that. $263 that should go to Nick Martinelli at nfmarty at gmail.com. That's where you want to send his our dues. And basically, if this is live, get your dues paid. Just get it done. I know we have one or two already in. So and Stick is one of them. So well done.
I have paid this already, but maybe not.
Nope, get it done. I don't think many have.
All right.
Nick told me it was closer to half the league at this point.
Oh, great. Good. Glad to hear that. Most people are taking care of it.
He
But
said Phil was paid 4 times already.
if you're on the panel and haven't done it yet, go get it done.
I'll get it done.
Yep, the league is renewed. You might have seen an email from me. Com.com is renewed. I took care of that. We're all set. 9-5 dues, keeper list 9-7, and we're good to go. Draft weekend. You heard Stick talk a little bit about the fact that some groups are all meeting up. I encourage everyone to do that. I will work with our technical team, including Phil, probably Mr. Iannuzzi, Adam, myself. We'll work out a plan relative to how we're going to conduct this over the webcast and what we're going to use.
Okay.
Maybe we'll use a StreamYard. Who knows? I don't know how many people we can put on this baby, but if not, we'll use
Get a lot.
Zoom or something else. But this technology is not so bad. Maybe we'll record our draft. I don't know. Anyway, I welcome ideas. If you have thoughts out there and you want to shoot ideas on what we should consider to make this draft absolutely awesome, let's do it. The one thing I'll mention, which I think I'll probably put a poll out for or ask for some feedback, is do we want to consider actually using com.com to run the draft? I can probably program it so that the draft order gets put in the right way. It might take a little extra work. I'm not sure. But would we want to do an automated draft where you get, the 2 minutes, it's the countdown, and you're using the tools of com.com? Or do we want to do an offline draft, take our time, do it the way we normally want to do it and rock it out. And what we might need is some extra hands, some stenographers, if you will. So go ahead. I already see some hands waving.
I think you know what I'm going to say on this one. Are you going to hire a sticker bitch?
I don't know if my dog would suffice for doing that. She doesn't handle the stickers so well.
No.
I was thinking maybe a fine young strapping man who's almost as tall as me now, and my son might handle the stickers, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do. Other than that, if you can get me a really hot robot, Chief, I'm happy to take that on.
I just want to let you guys know that I'm getting incessant texts from our 2 viewers that they're bored to death with the IT talk and the progress. We'll figure this out. All right.
They don't want to talk about
a really good draft take place.
This is kind of important.
It really is important. So they might be bored. Go switch the channel. Come back in a few minutes.
who is our second
Micro
viewer,
audience.
by the way? Bill and who?
Who do you think?
Ron Sternberg.
Come on. No, there's
Hey, Bill, put the poll out there for me.
We
Bill.
know it's Bill. I was asking who the second viewer was.
Kramer.
one. Who's the other one?
Kramer.
He's the one who's chirping.
Yeah.
It's got to be Kramer.
That's what I figured. But
Rich,
Yeah.
listen, I think the answer to your question is really simple. It's up to you because you're the one who's going to have to do all the work. I think it's unreasonable to think somebody's not going to take more than 2 minutes at some point, or we're not going to want to pause it for one reason or another. So as long as you're able to pause it when need be and not let somebody lose their pick, I think as long as you deal with it all, I don't care.
Again, we can talk about this further, but Rich, don't fall for this. This is an offline process, the way we do it. There's too many picks that have moved. There's just, you can do it if you want to be automated, man. I'm telling you.
Putting see what people's initial reaction might be.
Once you put the draft order in there, I mean, you know, there's going to be a couple draft day trades, but it can definitely handle it. I did a dynasty league on it. It's fine. It works.
Hey,
the key is managing your own draft while you're doing that, right? So there's considerations to make across the board.
I don't think it makes
Kramer is encouraging me to get a sticker board for our jersey draft as well. So we have our own sticker board here too, which I haven't.
That would be fun. Do you think we can order extra sticker boards?
I think I'm not sure, but I would imagine you could, right? I don't know.
You can buy them on Amazon. I've already checked that out, but I don't know if we can get extras from the website.
I take an email the customer service.
Yeah.
But as the central question, I don't think it matters. I mean, I think the great part of the draft, the actual draft, is the announcing of the picks.
Yes.
So you come up there, you make your announcement, you get, oh shit, I want that guy, or ooh, good pick, or what are you, fucking high? And whatever, and it gets recorded. Now, if every person records their own in the central repository, or if you have to record it in a spreadsheet or whatever, you know, whatever. We actually, I mean, it's sacrilege. We really don't need a sticker board. I mean, in real time. I don't think it's really going to make much of a difference.
Honestly, the issue with the sticker board anyway is it's really, you can't see it on the screen. You're not going to be able to see it on the screen anyway, unless you do a separate account or whatever just for that and put it close somehow.
I have multiple computers.
We definitely.
That's Thornburg's argument. Is we need to have one official board that is always viewable for everyone.
All right, so that is the other camera on just on that. That's a possibility.
And I think the commissioner obviously needs to be the one to run that.
Yeah.
That's easy. That's an iPhone pointed at the wall. You know, that's easy.
Yeah, that's doable.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's table this IT discussion for now.
Yeah, that's it on that. You know, there's things to consider. And then the more important things to consider are actually going to be the COVID stuff and the scenarios that Chief eloquently laid out relative to the various scenarios we would plan for. And he laid out 3 or 4 scenarios there, which I also sent back some dialogue around. And it's important stuff, you know. I don't think at this point they're considering a delay. I think they're going to try to start the season, and it seems to me that even some teams are looking to have a certain 20% of fans in attendance for some of the games. I know Dallas, the Patriots, and a few others actually are going to have fans.
Chiefs.
So we'll see how that. So right now, Chiefs scenario 1, you know, or 2 isn't in play.
Hey, real quick, Rich, as the moderator, let's, for our viewers, maybe let's have Chief. Can you just walk through the 4 scenarios real quick that we're going to be talking about here? And then Rich, as our commissioner, should walk us through how the league will handle them. But you laid them out very nicely, Chief. Let's just tell our readers what scenario 1, 2, 3, and 4 are.
Well, as Rich was saying, I think, you know, a couple of them really aren't going to happen at this point, which is good. I gotta say, I didn't think there was a snowball's chance that the NFL was going to start on time.
Yep.
You know, I thought and it still might, once training camp gets to hitting, you know, we saw what happened with baseball, at least in Florida. And yet the NHL has had like 30,000 COVID tests with no positives. You know, so it can be done, and it looks like the NFL has done a pretty good job. So, you know, the first one was the season was canceled. Let's not waste time talking about it. Just probably not going to happen.
Entirely canceled, right?
Entirely canceled. Fast forward to 2021.
Yeah,
we'll have plenty of time to talk about that one.
All right. There's no hurry. And the next one is if it's delayed. But as Rich just said, that there seems to be no real reason to think it's not going to start.
3 weeks from now. Yeah.
You know, there's a trivial number like 5 guys league wide on the COVID list right now. And I have to imagine that that's far more likely to come down than to go up. So again, good on the NFL. And so we're left with the scenarios where the season starts on time, but it can't finish on time. And so the only distinction between these two scenarios I made was one with lead time and one with no lead time. For example, if on October 1st, the NFL says the attrition rate's going way down, the end of the season is going to be now. We're going to have a 3-week playoff window starting now. Okay. Yep. And something like that we can react to. The other option, whereas they say, you know what, we've had too much attrition. We're down where 15% of players have COVID. We tried, didn't work. Season end now. No playoffs, no Super Bowl. Whoever gets the Marley Trophy gets the Marley Trophy. And so, in that scenario, there's really not a whole lot we can do. We either crown a champion or we don't. So, again, I think a lot of the planning has now been overtaken by events. The one thing we really have to figure out is the draft order for 2021 if we have less than a full season of the TFFL this year.
There's other things too. Let me swing it back to our commissioner. If the NFL shuts this thing down early, especially to the point where we don't get a TFFL playoffs, what happens to all the money we've all just sent to Nick, for instance?
I would imagine it can be 2 options. You can have it returned to you, or we can roll it over to the next year, and that would be your choice.
And just to be clear, if this happens in week 10 and somebody is 10-0 and whomping the whole league, doesn't matter. They are not the champion.
Yeah, that would be true. I think that we would need to have some level of where we call a season valid. Would we consider, going through 10 weeks to be a valid season? Is that more than half the games? So we have 13 weeks of our regular season, right?
Mm-hmm. What do you mean by valid season?
You played enough of it.
Calling a baseball game a real game, before a rainout, right? If you get to a certain point in the season where you say we've played enough games to determine a winner, somebody who's so say it's 10-0.
That's my question.
Right. So your question is the answer is probably between first answering the question of what declares a season valid in terms of we've played enough games that we all feel comfortable that we've represented a full season of play.
A Pac-12 champion.
You can crown a winner of the regular season and feel good that they were dominant enough. Does that require 13 games, or does anything under 13 games make it invalid? If we get to 12 and it's done.
Is 13 enough?
No.
Well, 13 is our regular season.
I'm going to stand on a ledge and say I am absolutely adamant against – if there is a shortened season, there's a shortened season and there's no champion. And we can either roll the money over and play for double next year or say everybody's dues are paid. But I would stand firm saying if we don't complete the season and have a Pac Bowl champion, then we're not getting asterisks on the Pac Bowl.
I will give one caveat to that. I agree with you. And it's the first scenario I discussed where the commissioner says we're going to go into the playoffs right now. Regular season's over.
Yep.
We're going to do a playoffs. And we can follow suit on that. And then the conversation moves to, well, man, I was like one game out of a playoff spot. And I say, well, tough titties. But
well,
I mean,
that's a discussion we can have.
That just happened for real with the NBA and the NHL. Right. And that's real life, right? They dealt with it. They figured it out.
Now we've gone from 32 teams to 8 or whatever. You know,
Yeah, I mean, I get that some people may feel pissed about some of the decision making there if you're on the, but tough shit. I mean, that's the way life goes, you know. So it is what it is. The records at that point stand, and if we decide that, you know, this isn't a dictatorship.
A declarative statement.
I just pulled a Joe Biden stutter there. It was, but the key here is I would call the presidents together of the league, some of the other folks. We would debate this a little bit and deal with it and make some quick decisions to take it forward, right?
And listen, the argument is going to be where you have a team like Jack's Giant Killers who has to play one schedule against a team like the Beavers, which has to, you know, I don't want to see any games to give me, but based on recent history, he's got two non-competitive teams in his division. Then again, the way we stack our schedule, maybe it doesn't matter. But really, that's the only argument, and I'm with you. I think, you know, them's the breaks.
Yeah.
But Phil, your point, Phil, is if there's not a full slate, then there is no TFL champion, right? Is that what you're saying?
No.
I think that if you do not complete the 16 weeks that our season requires, meaning the playoffs and the Pac Bowl, there's no champion.
What if the NFL had a 10-week season and we knew it was going to be a 10-week season and we had a 7-week regular season and 3 weeks of play?
And if that would be something we'd vote on as a league,
Phil, only if we're surprised.
So you're going back to what I was saying, Berto. Yeah, you're going back to exactly what I was saying. If we don't have to make a call right now, and we're not gonna. We're gonna see what happens, and we're going into this like they're gonna play a full slate, and we're gonna have a TFFL champion in a normal season. If it's altered, we are going to come together and we're going to figure out based on what they give us and what the dynamics are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they might say it's over, guys, or maybe we'll come back later, right? I don't know what they can come up with, but whatever happens, we're going to have to react to it.
Of course.
And
we'll take it as it comes.
The only thing that we're saying is if something happens at some point during the season to preclude there being a 16-game NFL season, then there is no, in effect, TFL season. So if something is cut short at some point in TFL.
No, we're not saying that definitively.
What Phil is saying, his point is if at week 9, Roger Goodell says season's over, effective immediately. One team 7-2, another team 6-3, another team 6-3. We're not saying the 7-2 teams as TFL champions, they win the league.
No,
I think that's Phil's point.
Yes, it is.
Okay. I agree with Phil. I would agree with that. Stating as a commissioner, I agree with that. If you cut the season right there, week 7 or 8, 9, 10, or 12 for that matter.
That's what I wanted.
And if it's 12 and there's going to be no more games and they just cut it,
yep,
there's nothing we can do. I'm not going to declare a champion based on records. The season gets rolled over and we move on and we decide what we're going to do.
I think we're in agreement. We need a playoffs.
Yeah.
To declare a champion.
We need a playoffs and a championship game. It's not, they ended the season after 10 weeks and you know the Lizards are 10-0, so they get the Pac Bowl. No, they don't.
No, I wouldn't feel good about accepting that.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
But I think we can deal with absolutely. We don't know.
You could be 10-0 and lose the first round of the playoffs.
Exactly.
I mean, that's why you have playoffs.
Right. So
what do you say, Chief? We can still award a Marley Trophy.
Marley Trophy.
we'll award the
Sure,
Marley.
why not?
Every 2 gets you $25.
I'll drink a toast in your honor, but you're not the Pac Bowl champion that year.
No, we'll deal with it as it comes. But I guess
You know what you get? You probably get the last draft pick.
you probably do.
One thing we're going to have to decide on is if we're going to take the trophy and send it to Switzerland.
Well, I was going to say, Chief gets to hold on to it for another year.
Maybe.
Right, Chief gets another year. But Chief, that's a good segue. So actually, there turned out to be more to talk about in terms of what happens this year. But yeah, the big decision if the season gets cut short is how do we handle the draft next year? And I think if you're that 10-0 team that gets quote unquote screwed out of a Pac Bowl, you shouldn't then necessarily be stuck with the last pick in the draft the next year.
I was going to say as much as I'm adamant that, hey, if we don't finish the season, we don't name a champion. hey, if we don't finish the season, the team that's 2-10 may not get the number 1 pick. We should have a lottery. It should be a lottery, and if we want to weight it based on current records, fair enough. There should be some level of everybody's in it.
You get one ping pong ball for every loss that you have.
No.
We can figure that out.
So if you're 0-7, you get 7 balls. If you're 7-0, you get none.
0 balls.
First round pick.
Well, that may or may not work. That may or may not be the right scenario. But coming up with a way that you're not just going to – if we don't finish the season and we don't have a champion, awarding the lowest draft pick to the person who's 3-7 at the time or whatever, I don't know if that's fair either.
No, I agree with that too. But if the season ends after 3 weeks, I don't think a team that's 1-2 should have twice as chance as a team that's 2-1.
We wouldn't.
We'd have to have some sort of minimum there.
Yeah,
we'd have to have groupings, right? 0.
Number of played, time lost.
Yeah, we're talking about hypotheticals. We're going to have time to think about these things. But, I love to just come to a general agreement that says, hey, guys, if the season goes sideways for whatever reason, we'll deal with it. But if we don't have a full season, we're probably not going to have a champion. And we're probably going to have to do something a little bit different with the draft next year. TBD what that might be.
Let's have a lottery, though. However,
it's absolutely going to be a lottery. It's just
I'll be honest with you. The discussion and what I've heard from most people is that I already hear a preference for a lottery. So that's almost a dominating discussion or feeling that I'm sensing from most of the league, from what I've heard and seen so far. Doesn't mean that's where we end up. We'll see, but we'll have time to decide on that. Mm-hmm. So I'm not worried about sort of that piece right now. I'm more concerned with executing our draft this year, getting that done, and seeing what happens. But everything you just outlined is exactly where our heads need to be relative to how we consider next year. And I think it's a lottery is a very valid approach. Who gets how many ping pong balls and the rest of it, we can debate that and think about that a little bit. Now, one other consideration that I think we're going to have to make for this year, and it's ironic that we just changed the FAIR bit, but Iannuzzi brought up, hey, might we want to have a COVID keeper slot? Now, what I've seen com.com do is that they've created the ability to have a where is it here? It is a practice squad, right? Yeah. So technically, we could create a practice squad and add X number of additional draft picks after our round 13, if we wished. There's a couple of interesting twists to this, right? One, you can make it so the practice squad players don't count against your positional roster. And at the same time, these would not be eligible keepers per se into a future year. However, there could be some very ironic twists to that too. What if you have somebody go on COVID? Okay, let's say Joe Mixon gets COVID, right? And he has to go off. And I have gotten some Bengals backup guy that I drafted in round 23, right? Let's call it. And he's on my practice squad. And Joe Mixon's out for the season, but I promote this guy up into the main team, right? And Joe Mixon's now on the COVID, list or whatever it is. Does that person become eligible as a keeper now or not? Right? So there's lots to debate there. I'm not looking for any answers or reactions. What I'm saying is that com.com, based on this COVID situation, you may find an entire team not available to you in a week. And that they're going, who knows what's happened. I mean, the real teams are going to have to consider this as well in terms of they have practice squads. So think about it. It's something that you might want to consider.
I would like to weigh in on this.
Yeah, I feel like we're hurting your brain tonight, Chief.
No, you look like you're in pain there.
No idea what that was. Let's do this later.
Why?
Well, I had no idea what you just said about reserve lineups and practice squad.
Let me go back to the previous point first.
Fats just said, Fats was the one asking about the fact, do we need COVID slots?
But let me go back to the previous conversation. I'm seizing the last word, is that we have to figure out next year's kind of draft order, because it's going to make a difference trading picks and trades.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah, if I have an equal chance for the number one pick as somebody else, it might kind of, weigh things differently. Okay, enough said about that.
But as commissioner, I could also freeze trades for a period of time until we decide what it is.
Absolutely. I just want to bring up that it's not something that we might want to put off for a couple months.
Yeah.
Going back to the COVID thing, okay, one thing about the NHL right now is because of privacy issue, they cannot disclose who has COVID, who doesn't. NFL is right now. I don't know if that's going to change. Right now, in the NHL, you're either fit to play a game or you're unfit to play a game. So I don't know if we want to make a specific COVID list. Yeah, I think the cleanest thing to do would be for 1 year, just increase the IR slots, even unlimited IR slots, for the 1 year. And we don't have to talk about that, but I think because they might not want to disclose who has COVID, right?
Right. So you're saying that they
COVID might be
out
hard issue, right? And maybe instead of 2 IR slots, maybe we give each team 5 or something for this 1 year. I don't know. I'm just worried that we might not know why someone's out, if they have COVID or if they don't.
That's a very good point.
All right, guys.
Oh, I fell asleep. Can we do a mock draft or something, please? I'm bored to death. COVID.
Wow, Phil. I mean, these are things.
We're talking out of our asses. Yes, we're going to
be game. Let's go.
Yes,
mock draft.
We're going to have football in a month. Let's talk about it. Jesus Christ. Isn't that why we're here? We didn't talk about football at all. Who's going to start for running back in Buffalo? Is Singletary going to beat up?
Corey Dillon. Where's Corey Dillon?
Actually, answer that question, Rich. You just
Corey Dillon's retired.
You got
Singletary's going to start. You're good with him.
Good. You better. Yes.
Lawson's going to cut into his carry significantly.
Come on, stick to your job. Get us on track.
Yes.
All right. So I sent out a 2-round mock draft, not more than 2 weeks ago. That is still very fresh. You guys should have that in front of you. Let's talk about that. I'm starting to get lots of whispers. Actually, trade proposals I know are floating around. People are starting to jockey for position. Any disagreement that there is kind of a top 4 running backs, a top tier of the 4 top running backs. I'm talking about Edwards-Helaire, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, and J.K. Dobbins.
Wasn't there a 5th?
Yes.
Okay, top 4. I think one order or another.
I think
You got Cam Akers in there?
I think Cam Akers has to
Cam
be
Akers. 5th.
I've got Cam Akers, as I said in the mock, kind of in a second tier all his own at number 5. If indeed you're looking for a running back at that point, I think the 2 top rookie receivers may start to come into play in the middle of the first round. CeeDee Lamb.
I don't know why you would take DeAndre Swift over Cam Akers at this point. I see no evidence of doing that.
Okay.
I think Akers is definitely a top 5 pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Akers may not be the starter there. Henderson very, very well could take a lot of carries there.
He would have done it last year.
Yeah, you can say the same thing with Swift and Kerryon Johnson. I just make the point that there's a little more draft capital, I think, in Swift. He's going to get the chance to be the number 1 guy there. I don't necessarily know that Akers is going to be number 1 over Henderson.
Yeah. Can we talk about how awesome the Joe Mixon trade was, Fred Lizards? That was just fantastic.
So that's my pick. So, I mean, I would absolutely look at a wide receiver there.
That's my point. Yeah.
So I don't know yet.
We're talking number 5 pick?
Yeah.
I have 5.
I will suggest if Cam Akers is there 5, there's no way you don't take him.
All right.
I'll put money on that right now.
I think it's going to go Edwards, Taylor, Edwards, Taylor, probably Akers, Swift, then Dobbins.
let's not argue about the order too. I mean, you saw my mock. I have Akers going 5, so that, I think we're in agreement. I'm just saying, and Berto's agreeing, there is a chance those top stud rookie receivers start to come into play there.
Pending who I think I want at 5. If he's not there, then yeah, something could change.
Yeah, but
Stick, the only error I think that's there is that I don't think the Mongols want to take Dobbins in that crowded backfield when they can get somebody like Akers there.
They do have Henderson, who will probably be a keeper for them.
Yeah.
So do they lock down that backfield? Or they
What
try
about
to get
Antonio Gibson and Keyshawn Vaughn and Moss? Are those guys definitely second tier?
right. So
Definitely.
I had those guys in second tier.
Yeah.
I have whispers from owners, let's call it just the middle of the first round, are looking at Antonio Gibson. I know there are a couple owners who are very high on Antonio Gibson.
Not like Geis is gone. Who else? Adrian Peterson's it, right?
Bryce Love is there getting some touches, perhaps. It's a shitty offense. I mean, that's my.
Peyton Barber's there. Call me.
You're right. Peyton Barber is there. But I think Gibson is somebody that certainly is a first round pick and may go higher than you think. Hank, so we know Berto's 5. We've laid out the top 5 running backs. Number 6 is the Hams. And the Hams have 3 first round picks: 6, 10, and 12.
And this was, you asked us to point out one spot on the draft, and this is mine. Okay. If you're the Hams, you have Michael Gallup. Why on earth would you take CeeDee Lamb? I mean, is he so much above the other rookie receivers? Is he above Jerry Jeudy that badly, or that you're going to?
He'll probably take
yourself by taking the 2 receivers from the same team.
I think this is the easiest pick. It's Jerry Jeudy is who he's going to take here. I think.
I think you're right. It's either Moss or Jeudy.
Yeah.
Right.
I was asking about Moss.
If it's a receiver, it's Jeudy, unless you want to go Robert Woods or somebody.
Yeah.
But CeeDee Lamb has to start without benefit of the preseason and the full training camp. You got to figure it's number 3 in Dallas right now.
Probably.
And,
I think that's way early for that rookie receiver, at least.
Right. So I think if you go on rookie receiver, if you're the Hams, you have Michael Gallup, you have to go Jeudy.
Mm-hmm.
Let me answer your question real quick. Just personally, I do think CeeDee Lamb is by far the best.
I would say the best one by far. I think he's the best rookie receiver.
But I agree with your point. I think Jeudy may be a better fit for the Hams.
He and Jeudy, I think, are very similar and very. One of them is going to, or both of them are probably gonna be really good. Which one's better? Who knows?
Okay, so Jeudy goes number 6. The Hams, I'm fine with that. That makes total sense. They get a stud receiver. They have 2 more picks coming back later in the first. They can get a rookie, a second-tier rookie running back there.
Well, the other thing is he might take Gibson right there.
Mm-hmm. That's what. Again, Moss, Gibson. Are those guys? Keyshawn Vaughn was the other one.
Michael, how he loves running backs.
Mm-hmm.
I think he takes one of the running backs there and then waits to see a 10.
Yeah,
for receiver.
Michael can do whatever he wants with he's got 3 picks there. He can decide what the real value is and still get 2 more guys later in the first round. So Hank at number 7 then, and we have to sort of back into you by talking about the keeper conundrum you've got.
Yep.
You do have a lot of and you're not the only team, but you've got some excess keepers, some very good guys in Robert Woods in particular, Will Fuller too, as opposed to keeper-worthy talent at receiver, that are probably going to get let go in favor of you keeping 4 running backs, which would include Ronald Jones and Devin Singletary, in addition to Barkley and Henry.
That's the question. I think the question really comes down to Ronald Jones or Robert Woods, and which one of them. I mean, look, it's the TFFL. All things being equal, you keep the running back because we need running backs. Robert Woods is a good receiver. I mean, he's a top 20 receiver in any way you look at it. If it comes down to I'm going to let him go, I will definitely try and get some value out of him. So all those you that week 6 keeper, you should come talk to me.
Well, I think the interesting thing here, and Stick, this goes to your keeper list, and I haven't talked to you in a while. I personally, on my keeper list, I think LaShawn McCoy is now a keeper. I think even at 33 or whatever he is, I think he's a better keeper than Ronald Jones, or a better bet just to get the
keeper.
I heard they love Ronald Jones in Tampa. I heard
wow.
Archie's all rage.
Yeah, so Ronald Jones is a baby. I mean, he came in the NFL at 21. I think he's 23 now, actually.
right.
Everything I'm reading suggests it's Ronald Jones there.
The conventional wisdom among running backs is if you don't come out of that's the one position you should be able to come out of college and transfer your skills. And if you're a good guy, lock down the starting job as a rookie. Okay, now he's starting year 3, and I'll give you week 2 as a big jump from year 1. Right, year 1 he was
Not
terrible.
good.
I think less than 2 yards a carry.
He was terrible.
Last year was pretty good.
Yeah, especially at the end of the year, he was pretty good.
I think if LaShawn McCoy has anything left, and I think he does, well, let me ask you, Stick. You have him. You plan on keeping him?
I'm really not. Again, everything I've read says Ronald Jones is surprising to me because Phil knows this. I don't think Ronald Jones is that good a running
You're
back.
looking at Carlos Hyde or Sammy Watkins, or
Sammy Watkins. Yep.
Well, I guess if Devontae Freeman gets picked up somewhere, an injury, but
yeah, we can get to the aliens here in a second. Let me go back to the K wheels because what is hidden in this decision making is you really can't take Zach Moss. You got Singletary,
or Keyshawn Vaughn for that matter,
or Keyshawn Vaughn because you got Ronald Jones, or Jerry Jeudy, maybe somebody you just have to take.
Yep.
But you've got Cortland Sutton.
Correct.
or you keep then Robert Woods.
Yep.
And you draft either Zach Moss or Devin Singletary.
No,
That's what I was going to say.
Singletary's getting kept. I'm keeping 4 running backs. That's given.
There we go. All right.
I'll tell you that.
That settles that.
Yeah.
So I think Stick Robert Woods in your mock there is sure.
Well, so the K wheels are telling us they're definitely keeping 4 running backs. That means number 7 is probably a receiver.
Probably.
Yep.
Probably.
Okay, so and that may be the first receiver then, depending. If the Hams take a running back at 6, Hank gets his choice of receivers. You guys are all downplaying CeeDee Lamb. Fine. Jerry Jeudy's a guy you can't really take. Maybe Robert Woods comes right back to the K wheels there.
Maybe so.
That's what I've got in my mock.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so then it's the aliens at 8, and the news flash here is at the moment I'm keeping Sammy Watkins as my 7th keeper. I don't have a lot of great options there. LaShawn McCoy has really not been a consideration. There's talk of what's his name, Justin Jackson out with the Chargers, seeing a fair amount of touches. But I think I'm keeping Watkins at the moment. Or making a trade.
I feel like you keep Sammy Watkins every other year.
Me too. You keep Sammy Watkins so much.
Accurate.
He was with the Hams for a year or 2, but
like every even year you keep him.
Yeah,
Most bad years too.
And Carlos Hyde, I've had his whole career. I actually didn't keep him last year, but drafted him. So
these guys.
Another round with Sammy Watkins.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, the argument with Sammy Watkins is he's the number 2 receiver on the Chiefs passing off.
Maybe one of these years he'll break out finally.
He helped me. He pretty much single-handedly won me the first game of the year last year, and then did nothing the rest of the way. And then had a great playoffs, which portended.
Yeah, you made the playoffs. Really doing well for you.
Hey, I'm not pretending I've got a good keeper list, and so bringing that back to the draft at number 8, I have to take a young running back. I mean, I have not had first-round picks. The last first-round pick I had was Dante Foreman, who blew out his Achilles. I need a young running back that I can expect to be a keeper heading into 2021. So that could be Antonio Gibson. That could be Zach Moss. answer a couple questions tying together here. Keyshawn Vaughn is not in the mix at 8 any more than LaShawn McCoy is in my keeper mix.
Mm-hmm.
AJ Dillon.
AJ Dillon is somebody I think about from time to time. That feels a little early for him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's probably number 3. Yeah, there's probably that I think if you call Akers the second tier all by himself, I think there's a third tier with Moss, Gibson, and Dillon in it. And I think Vaughn is actually out of that tier.
Mm.
Dillon is interesting because, I mean, what's there to say that he's going to really get a shot in Green Bay?
Yeah, he will. I mean, Aaron Jones is great, but he's going to get some carries.
Yeah. I mean, I don't look at that as a gimme by any means.
I think Rich is disagreeing with Phil.
I think Aaron Jones is better than you're giving him credit for.
Well,
no, he agrees with me. We're on the same page. I don't think that,
Jones
Dillon gets that big a chance.
Jones.
Okay, no, we're saying the same thing. I think Dillon gets some carries, but he's not going to get that job.
Okay. Jones is a free agent after this year. I think that's the key point. And there are signs that Green Bay is not going to give him, the big money he probably is going to want. While Melvin Gordon. That's the gamble you're taking on Dillon, and that he's a big, productive running back who would do very well as a fantasy running back if he were the number 1 guy.
He has big legs.
Yes, that's the word on the street.
Yeah, I heard that too.
He's got 3 trunks for legs.
Yeah, he's a Brandon Jacobs clone.
They talk him like Saquon Barkley, the tree trunk legs.
Yeah, I think Brandon Jacobs is probably an apt comparison there.
Mm-hmm.
He's not as tall, but he's got that mass and that speed at that mass.
Yep.
This is frightening.
And even as I famously took Jacobs as a rookie. Tiki Barber was still the stud with the Giants. Even as a rookie, Jacobs, scored 8-9 touchdowns in a goal line back roll. You could throw him in there as your number 3 guy.
Yep.
And then by his second year, he was a regular fantasy starter. I think Dillon will be a first round pick. I don't, like I said, I think that's a little early for me at number 8 with him. Let's move through this quickly. We'll let people get on with their Friday nights, but let's finish our first round here. Number 9 is the Senators. Berto, you hearing any whispers talking to Kramer?
No whispers, but I think this pick makes sense, right? He gets a stud running back, rookie running back, and he gets a stud receiver, and I think that's probably the way we would go. So I think if Judy were there, he would take him. I think that's. Mm-hmm. I think that would work because you got Hilaire out there. So
will he take CeeDee Lamb there if Judy goes at number 6? And
mm-hmm.
I think he would take either one of those guys, and I think he would. I think he'd go gamble on greatness rather than if Robert Woods was there, I think he would still take one of the rookies over of that.
Yeah. Those Keyshawn Vaughn types.
Tell me a rookie wide receiver that's had an amazing first year.
Randy Moss.
Odell Beckham.
So I have to go back to like 2004 for that?
Odell Beckham.
Yeah. OBJ.
Great. You got 2.
Mike Evans.
They're
on your team.
I love those guys. They're good. T.Y. Hilton too. I traded away. But my point is that they're few and far between. I know how to pick them. The rest of the league doesn't.
Stephon Diggs.
Just stay away from receivers. Just let Rich handle it.
All right. Let me fast forward this a little bit. Again, the 10 and 12 picks are the Hormel Hams. We've decided, they're maybe taking Jerry Jeudy at number 6. Presumably, then I think they're probably looking at running backs here at 10 and 12. This could be A.J. Dillon, Keyshawn Vaughn, the guys we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about number 11 in between them, which is the Beavers. My mock has them taking Joe Burrow. I don't want to get into my age-old argument, but you guys, I know Chief certainly disagrees.
I disagree.
Okay. Who do the Beavers take if it's not Burrow?
It's not that I disagree, Stick, that they should take Joe Burrow at some point. Maybe they should. It's not there. They're not going to take him at 11.
I think the other key thing about that, too, is that it's their first pick.
Yeah.
So, if they had traded and had another pick somewhere in the first round, and then that was their pick at 11, sure. But not, I don't know, just not on their first pick, because I think they're going to want some sort of talent that is playable, startable.
I agree.
Just consider this, and I think I hinted at this in the mock draft. Aaron Rodgers, maybe probably the second worst keeper quarterback in the TFFL right now.
That's a bold statement. Wow. Aaron Rodgers.
No, I think it's probably accurate.
Probably is.
If you go look at some rankings,
I think Carson Wentz is the worst.
I was going to say Josh Allen, but Wentz is actually in the bottom half.
I'm sorry, I don't have Allen as a quarterback.
Okay.
As a keeper.
Matthew Berry's love-hate. Aaron, he makes the case Aaron Rodgers is not a top 12 fantasy quarterback. And I don't mean to disparage him. I'm just making the point that I don't think Aaron Rodgers is a keeper in 2021. And if that's the case and you're the Beavers, he may make a bolder move at quarterback than you think.
Well, we shall see. You should take Joe there if he wants to get him.
We're talking about the team that on paper I think is the strongest team in the league. I have to imagine they're going to take a player to help them win a Pac Bowl.
I believe they have 2 second-round picks.
All right. Whoever the top-rated receiver is on there, if it's Robert Woods or whoever your top-rated veteran is at this point. His running backs are young, right? He's got Mack, McCaffrey, Jacobs, and whoever else. Of course, running backs don't have a long shelf life to begin with.
Beavers do not have one of the best. They do not have the best keeper list in the league. Among them, sure, it's not the best.
They were undefeated last year.
I don't care. That list is not the best. They have McCaffrey. Great. That's good.
Yeah, I agree. It's not great.
Jacobs. Yeah. I just don't. I've said it before. We can move on, but I don't think Burrow's a guy there. I think it's someone who's going to be a starter, someone they can start every week or nearly every week.
Maybe a tight end.
Has to be there. It could be it could be the best tight end on the board. I don't know.
Well, and okay, well let's start to wrap up here. That is an important question. There are a lot of good tight ends available in this draft, but to me at least, Darren Waller is way above everybody else as a guy who caught 90 balls last year. The other tight ends I see out there, their upside is more limited, or they're more unproven at this point. If you're looking at guys like Fant and Hawkinson,
do you have Jared Cook as a keeper?
I have. To me, Jared Cook is 38 years old or something. I know. How old is? Let's answer that question.
He's 87 years old.
He's 212 years old.
No.
You know how old Joe Louis was?
Joe Louis was 47 years old. Years old when he fought Muhammad Ali.
He's like 33.
Yeah.
I have Darren Waller being kept somewhere though, if not for the Amsterdam Packers, somewhere. But
it doesn't matter. I was just curious if you had him being kept. I can't imagine you would have, but.
All right, so there are a few teams that do not have a first round pick. Chief, you're one of them. So let's and Rich, you're another one. Without doing a full 2-round mock, because we should wrap up here, tell me what you guys are kind of looking for in the second round. What are you hoping might fall? How do you see the second round shape? You must have tried to mock this out a little bit. Tell us in general terms how the second round plays out. Do we see quarterbacks going in the second round?
Go ahead, Rich.
If we were in a full league, no, I don't see quarterbacks going in the second round. That's short. Not in this league, at least. I mean, if somebody's desperate for one, maybe the end of the second round. For me, it'll be a tight end or a running back that I'm looking for, personally, at 21. Unless I trade up in some way, shape, or form, that's probably what I'm looking at.
Yeah, for me, and again, I haven't really done a lot of work because I was convinced there'd be no season. It's not going to be Tony Pollard. It's going to be someone that I can start. It might be a pass catching back, one of those James White types,
Yeah,
right?
White.
I don't know if he'll be there. He probably won't be there. He might be kept for all I know. There'll be somebody that I can start at least on an injury basis or a bye week basis, or whoever the top receiver I have is on the board or tight end. I would love to see James White there. I just don't think it's going to happen. But back like that. Back who gets in the passing game.
I think he could be there. James White would be there.
Maybe. I think it's about where he goes in the middle of the second round.
Right. He's a second round guy, whether he goes to the end of the
I'm at 24, but whatever. But a guy like that. A guy who's going to get on the field, at least get, 15 snaps a game kind of guy. And again, there's not going to be any ball carriers like that. Maybe a good pass catching back. Maybe I'll add strength to strength and get a good veteran receiver. Yeah, we'll see.
So, real quick, back to the quarterbacks. You guys are not only disputing Burrow at number 11, but I'm hearing maybe no quarterbacks going in the second round. I would remind you that the Sponge are not going to be keeping a quarterback. The Boba Fett probably are not keeping a quarterback. The Mongols, if they keep a quarterback, it's Josh Allen. I really don't think he should be a keeper there. They should try to figure something else out. But at the moment,
even I agree with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm projecting at the moment. But I think you could end up with 3 teams needing a quarterback. And Chief, do you have a third round pick?
No, I got second and 2/4.
Correct. So you're missing a third.
You know what? There are 5 quarterbacks I project to be on the free agent or in the draft that I am comfortable drafting.
Mm-hmm.
I'll draft a quarterback in the 4th round.
Yeah, that's where I think the 4th round is where it really starts. The quarterbacks start to fall.
And Bill Thornburg just chimed in, told me that Joe Louis was 137 years old when he fought Rocky Marciano.
Yeah, Rocky Marciano, Navajo, yes.
I think Chief just dropped an important piece. I mean, waiting until the 4th round is going to for your starting quarterback is going to be a gamble.
Mm.
And I did it last year. I wanted right. I had the first pick in the 4th round. I wanted Brady. I think Ralph took Brady like 4 picks before me. I had Cousins as my number 2 quarterback. I took him.
Yeah.
All right. What happened?
I've been there.
Worked out all right, Chief.
Right.
There are quarterbacks available.
Yeah.
I've waited till the 4th round, and you don't get. I've done that a couple. It's really the 3rd round, I think. But
well, listen, I agree. If I had a 3rd round pick, maybe that would be where I am.
Yeah.
But I go from pick 24 to whatever I think the first pick in the 4th round is.
Right.
So I'm not taking one at 24. I can promise you that.
So we got 3 teams that are going to need a quarterback. We got Chief on record, and it makes total sense. He's going to be going for a quarterback early in the 4th. I think it's the Mongols that don't have a 3rd round pick, like Chief. And so if the Mongols, don't take a quarterback in the 2nd round, that's a big risk, them waiting. I just think you're going to see a couple teams going for a quarterback, at least in the 2nd round. And if that's enough to pressure Bill into saying, gosh, I really want Burrow, I could see him taking him at 11. He's still got 2 other 2nd round picks. There's going to be a market for quarterback earlier than.
I think you just projected as many as 3 quarterbacks in the first 2 rounds. I want the under for as much as you'll take it against.
I think 2 is the number I'm saying is the line.
2 quarterbacks in the first 2 rounds.
I think 2 is the max.
I think 2 is a max.
And I think we might see, if 2 go in the 1st round, we could see maybe 3 more, or 2 in the 2nd. We could see maybe 3 in the 3rd.
Yes.
If 2 go that early, you're going to see everybody move up their urgency to get who they want.
But again, I think there's enough guys I feel comfortable. If there was one guy that I wanted, then I would take him at 24.
Yeah.
But man, there's who's going to be out there? Breeze is going to be out there.
There's a lot of
Stafford is going to be a 6 roster, right?
Exactly.
You have Jared Goff in your mock drafts. You have good intelligence that Jared Goff is going to be in the draft.
In my chats with Rob, and he and I have not emailed too frequently, but my recollection is that he's got a lot of potential keepers.
I'll tell you, one of the reasons why I traded for Brady this year is because I knew the amount of people who were going to be looking for a quarterback, number one. Number two, it was cheap. And number three, I've been in this situation so many times, and sometimes it doesn't work, and then I'm stuck with somebody, and I'm like, fuck, man, I got to make a trade anyway. So I wanted to. I mean, I wouldn't have kept the quarterback if Debo was healthy. I was very excited about Debo too, but then it just made sense to do that cheaply versus paying a third or second round pick for a marginal keeper wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's good because you really shouldn't feel pressure to keep Brady, right? If Samuel is going to play week 1, right, you say, oh, it cost me a late 3-round trade up. Who cares? I'll throw him back in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
If I was going to say whether you're going to keep Brady or not right now, I'd say probably not going to keep him. But I'm optimistic on Debo's injury.
Yeah, if Debo is healthy and he's not, and he's going to play, that's going to force my hand. And then it will be, if he's going to play week 1, he probably will be the keeper. So
more love it.
But if he's going to miss 6 weeks or whatever, that's a different thing. But
Matt Ryan's going to be in the draft.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Baker Mayfield.
I'll be happy with him. I'll be happy with Daniel Jones again.
Daniel Jones. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of good quarterback options.
I also think.
If I may, just one last thing about Brady. I'm very excited. I'm very bullish on him too, though. So
Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be in the draft.
What'd you have, Berkman?
I think we're underestimating the number of running backs that are more veterans, not rookies, that will be available in the first 2 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
So beyond James White, there's a bunch of other really good share time running backs that I think that haven't been accounted for. And those will take precedent over the quarterbacks that you're talking about.
I agree.
Now we can keep talking if you got. I would dispute that. One of the things
I'm not going anywhere.
One of the things I
got more bourbon. I'm good.
My daughter's having a sleepover. I got nothing to do.
I think there are some really strong veteran receivers available in the first couple of rounds. Obviously Robert Woods, Will Fuller, both from the K-Wheels. Debo Samuel, maybe. I had another one on my list.
John Brown.
I had a Jones.
Brandon Cooks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Jones is talking about.
well, I mean, you have Darren Waller in here too, which I said I don't think he'll be.
Yeah.
I think he'll be kept somewhere. But
Got guys like Chase Edmonds.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't think so? You don't think he's going to split carries with Kenyon Drake? You're
Yeah, I do. He's second.
He's going to end up being the number 1.
Yeah, I don't. He could be a second round pick or end of the first.
Based on your reaction and your look, keep thinking your analysis.
I don't even know what you said, dude. I'm looking at wide receivers. Chase Edmonds, I'm not going to draft him. I promise. So go ahead.
I hear what you're saying, Rich. I think Chase Edmonds did wonderful last year in the opportunities he's got. They just paid Kenyon Drake a shit ton of money. He is the number 1 running back there. They drafted Eno Benjamin.
Here's the reality. We now have what used to be 1 position is now 2 positions. We have a first and second down running back and a third down running back. And third down running back includes second and long. Okay. So every team has them now. You can go to Theo Riddick, back a couple of years ago. You can go to guys who's got Saints had one for years. You have guys, the 49ers have one now.
Darren Sproul.
Yeah, well, Darren Sproul, but
rock star.
And every team has a running back who has a skill set of a wide receiver who they draft. Every team. And those guys are valuable. James White's probably the most famous one right now because of the Patriots offense. Theo Riddick had a great one at Detroit. Pierre Thomas with the Saints had a good run.
There you go.
The guy in Washington, Chris Thompson, had a nice run. Duke Johnson's had a nice run. You have guys who they're gonna get your 15 snaps, your 8 to 12 touches a game. Who, in most fantasy football leagues, they're a late round draft pick or a waiver wire priority. In our league, they're startable.
Very much so. Very much so. I think there's some what I'm talking about, existing running backs people are going to let go that will end up in the second and third rounds.
They will. Because it creates a panic in our league that just the lack of depth at that position.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it in previous years when guys like Bilal Powell are going in the first round, or there was one other guy in the same draft even, I think. The Mo Williams types, the guys that, oh my God, I got to get a running back. I only have 3 or I only have 2 and a half. So I agree with you, Rich. I think there's going to be some of those running backs, a lot of those running backs that are probably going to be taken ahead of the quarterback run.
And I might just disagree with those picks, but I think you're right that it will happen. All right, let me give you guys a trivia answer. We have a really complicated. All right, so we're looking for the one franchise that had the top 2 picks in the TFFL draft at one point. All right, got to go all the way back to I believe the answer is 2002. But let me make sure.
Oh yeah.
Hold on. 2002. The Slippery Beavers.
Oh, damn it.
I mentioned they had 3 picks.
On my initial answer, look at this. My first answer, I had the Beavers there, and I switched it to the Hams, but I got the year. And I know players.
I took McFadden, not Stick.
All right.
There's McFadden and Stewart. I was trying to think between the two of you. I thought you had a trade during the Cabins.
You are correct.
Where someone had the first 2 picks.
Yeah, that was not 2002. 2002 was Beavers taking William Green at number 1 overall. Remember him?
No.
Clinton
Portis.
Number 2.
Actually, I must have had the number 1 pick then.
William Green?
The Beavers got the number 2 pick from the Hams.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't.
The number 3 pick that year was the Lizards.
That's what it was. I did.
Deshaun Foster.
Yep.
Worked out well.
Number 4 was the Aliens, courtesy of Vince Lombardi's stem cells, taking TJ Duckett.
Nice.
I remember that draft.
I had him on my list. He's on my list. TJ Duckett.
TJ Duckett.
If you were thinking McFadden, Mendenhall, Stewart.
Hey, I give.
Yes, those are top 3. And between you and the Aliens, you had those 3 picks.
Yeah.
That might have been that 2006 to 2009 stretch, actually.
Oh, well, see, that's why I didn't pick those dates, because you said you didn't have them.
But
originally I had 2006.
Right.
All right. So are there
I do have 2006 to 2009 drafts I verified.
All right.
So what was the answer again? The answer was
the Slippery Beavers.
Yep.
In 2002 with Clinton Portis and William Green.
I was going to say Beaver and Portis. I couldn't have come up with the other ones, but
did anyone get any points?
I got the year.
Okay, Berkman.
Which I said was 3 points. 2 points for the year.
Anybody else?
3. We're sure we'll win that.
Okay, but you're the commissioner. You can have 3 points.
No, it's fine. Whatever.
Happy 50th. You get next a birthday point for Rich.
Right on.
3. All right, so Bort gets 3. Hank, Chief, and Berto get 0.
I was going to say Clinton Portis. I can't.
That might be a first for me. I don't think I've ever been shut up before.
I almost had Beavers and 2002. I changed the
Beavers, Portis.
If you'd had that, Rich, you'd have taken over the points lead. The 2020 totals now. Hank still leads with 13. This cannot last. I never win trivia. Berto and Bork are now tied with 12.
All right.
Chief, even though he's missed some webcasts, he's way back. He's at 4. That's where we're at.
All right. We are at almost an hour and 20 minutes, so we'll wrap up here.
It's a long webcast. The first 20 minutes is intoxicating.
Like we have anything else to do?
I got a 7:08 tea time.
Hit them straight.
Listen, we'll be back again. We still are going to have lots of keeper conundrums to talk about. There will be more NFL action, injuries, COVID,
Technology.
TFFL trades that will shake up keeper lists and draft projections. So we'll be back again before the draft. But yeah, we're 3 weeks away from draft weekend as of today. If you haven't paid your dues, get them in. Rich has laid out the keeper deadline, but as he said, as Terry used to say, it's not going to hurt to get them in early.
Bring it.
Make some trades, folks. There is some excess keeper talent out there. Some teams like the Aliens that maybe want to fill some spots.
My phone's been active.
I've been hearing some trade talk. So I think we'll see some action soon. We'll be back soon enough to talk about it. Stay safe. Good luck to everybody. Looking forward to seeing a few of you soon in person and seeing all of you together for the draft.
Thank you, Stick. Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Cheers.